And we're live. Hello and welcome to the 222nd episode of HEX Therapy Live. I'm your host, Maddie Allen, and I've got a great show for you tonight. Coming to you about half an hour later than the normally scheduled time because I'm in the chats arguing with MetaMask about how many bugs they have in their pulse chain instance of MetaMask that came out recently. But we'll get to all that and more. I see we have Fast Abdul in the comments here as normal. Yeah. I'll be able to cover all this and more. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button and share this out. You're in the right place. Welcome to HEX Therapy Live.
It's from Maddie Allen of HEX Therapy Live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research.
Big videos on sudden wealth syndrome.
There's nothing that a human being could do better than try and heal his fellow man.
Maddie Allen's got that covered. He does emotional, feel-good, mind management, emotion stuff, like, as his gig, because he's a therapist. That's what he does for a living. Like, he helps heal people.
So much good crypto and mental health stuff to cover today. So much good alpha that I can give you. And if you're in the HEX and Pulse chain and Bitcoin and Ethereum ecosystems, I almost don't know where to start. But yeah, we'll find some stories here. I think this is going to be a good show, but maybe I'll just do it in no particular order. Okay, so a friend asked me today, like, what's the news, and so I guess I've been spending a lot of time lately like being in tune with the crypto news, because I do think we're at a critical point. And there's a lot of stuff happening in the world economy. There's major changes happening with macro when it comes to the trade war. And I would like to point out to you that Trump did a trade war in his first term. Now, I don't know of anybody who's gone back and studied like how this time is going to be the same or different, but that's an important thing to point out. And I think the Kobayashi letter and stuff, those guys will probably have a thread about it at some point on Twitter. But yeah, there's a lot happening. All of this in the macro, all of this cutting of government waste, that can crash the economy if the waste was going to like pay to like, make the senators, gardeners, millionaires and stuff like that, right? Like that, if the money was going to North Korea or anywhere else in the world, maybe cutting it out is going to boost the American economy. But whenever you remove like a huge financial stimulus, even if it's fraudulent and going to the wrong people, that could still crash the economy. So I think that's why Elon and Trump were thinking that they want to give some of the money back that they're saving. If they save $2 trillion, they'll give $5,000 back to anybody who has a positive balance on their taxes. And that'll, incentivize people to still file their taxes, even when all of our tax money has been going to, well, not all of it, but too much of it has been going to fund outright fraud, waste, and abuse. But yeah, it's kind of interesting that they had to point out to the market, hey, by the way, we might do a huge stimulus check to help the market try to, digest all these cuts that are going to be happening. And yeah, I think like a lot of the fraud, waste, and abuse, like it's unknown where the money's going. And so Trump and Elon and the Doge team, they're going to have to make sure that they get things right and find the right balance with the market if they don't want to crash the economy. But that's a balancing act. And speaking of crashing an economy, I want to talk in detail about like the conundrum that Ethereum is in. And I started to touch on this earlier this morning when I did another Mario Nafwal show where, you know, they get like over 100,000 viewers watching and there's like a paid shill at the end, but there's a few minutes always within the hour of like, you know, interesting general crypto talk. And it's really the only time when I speak to other influential characters from other parts of crypto that aren't hyper focused in the same areas that I am. So it can be quite enlightening. Sometimes I come up with really good points to make because I'm zoomed out so much. Don't worry, this is going to relate to Richard Hart's strategy and the future of HEX and Pulse Chain. So I'm doing this talk earlier, and I made the point that not only is Vitalik, his origin story, of course we know he's a 3,000 IQ alien, but what you may not have known is that Vitalik, he first got into crypto because some centralized middleman deleted his like credits on a video game. Okay. This is really good lore. I'm going to have to like check all the details and then write up a thread on this or something. I'll write an essay about this, but anecdotally, all right. How did Vitalik, the creator of Ethereum, how did he get into crypto? Well, I don't know, he was playing World of Warcraft or some like, you know, some video game as a teenager, like high school age, and they like delete all of his credits or whatever. His digital, you know, store of value. And so then he started getting into Bitcoin. He ended up writing for Bitcoin Magazine, which ended up becoming the controlling force for the Bitcoin conferences and for a lot of the, basically I call them the Bitcoin royalty, like all of the talking heads in Bitcoin are all like their speech is controlled, which is interesting. But yeah, so Vitalik is writing for this magazine, Bitcoin Magazine, when he's 17, you know, earning Bitcoin here and there. And then he goes on to create Ethereum to the maxis scorn. Does that sound familiar? Like when Richard Hart, you know, branched off and went from being a Bitcoin maxi to creating his own thing. So Vitalik, he creates this super successful network that and famously he says that transactions should only cost 5 cents. And, you know, that this is a decentralized world computer. Well, fast forward a few years and Ethereum is up tens of thousands of X. Another way to say that is Ethereum is up millions of %. And now Vitalik has entered into his conundrum because people have started to use Ethereum as a store of value, just like he was storing his internet game points. So he can't just go in and delete your store of value in order to fix the high gas fee problem that plagued Ethereum, especially in the last bull run of 2021. And so he's spent, you know, thousands of his alien IQ points, you know, creating a fork to fork out the miners over the past like 4 years. Like, you know, Ethereum has accomplished a lot. And so it's particularly interesting to see now we are in a situation where there are low fees on Ethereum. The fees on Ethereum have been so low that there have been times when Pulse Chain an alternative, a fork of Ethereum, has had higher gas fees, like when Pump Tires launched, the version of Pump.fun that you should all check out if you want to go to a casino that has a low success rate. Or if you want to check out, Richard Hart's #1 meme coin, Most. I don't really have that much of it, but hey, it's out there. Anyway, yeah, so this new protocol launched at the beginning of this month, Pump.tires, and made so much activity on Pulse Chain that the fees were higher on Pulse Chain than on Ethereum. The ETH gas fees lately have been oftentimes below 1 Gwei. Sometimes when there's major price volatility, like Ethereum is going up or down, then you can still get a much higher spike in Ethereum. And I noted the last time Ethereum did a flash crash, I believe that was also earlier this month, I was able to buy Ethereum most cheaply on Pulse Chain because the gas fees on Ethereum were like over $1,000 to do a swap. If they were working at all. So anyway, so like, I'm not discouraging the fact that, you need Pulse Chain and you need Ethereum, but it's interesting to me that Vitalik, he made this point of changing his profile picture to Milady, and he says he is against winning. So my question to you, as the millionaires and billionaires and nerds that you are watching this channel, what does Vitalik mean when he says he's against winning? What is winning to him? Is winning creating low fees and not erasing everybody's video game points, aka the store of value of Ethereum, right away? Is his version of winning the price of Ethereum doing a 4x? And, then fees are 4 times more expensive, and it's not quite a decentralized world computer anymore. Especially with the new Pectoral upgrade or whatever it's called coming up here, and all these like layer 2s that you can look at as, hey, why are they letting everybody off with low fees and then capitalizing off of Ethereum's back without paying anything back into Ethereum? Like the fascinating thing that I'm seeing now is, like, you had Richard Hart tweet today, and he used the word, he's begging. He said, Ethereum, I'm literally begging you to send direct mail to promote ETH, okay? ETH is down 74% versus Bitcoin in 3 years because BTC has superior marketing. If you market ETH, you too can make new all-time highs like Bitcoin has been doing. Well, the question is that winning? And is Vitalik on board with that? Does he want a new all-time high? Does he want better marketing, or does he like being a low-key, low-fee chain? So far, what we're seeing is maybe he wants the price of ETH to go down. I mean, the dude's out there dumping it all the time, putting people like Aya Tamagotchi, well, I guess he changed that recently, but like he was defending her for the past month of like her being the leader of the Ethereum Foundation and, supporting her stance of not winning. You have to wonder, if Vitalik sees it as a win, that he's eliminating some of the competition with Pulse Chain. by keeping the fees low and keeping the sacrifice address underwater. Right? So, Trump already bought, the most influential person in the world already bought Ethereum. To me, if you want to ask my opinion on like the price action, I've never seen Richard Hart not call a top or a bottom. As long as I've been in crypto, and I can go back and look at the receipts and see like he's done it perfectly since he got in, and like, bought the top at $20 or whatever, and then goes down to $1 or something, whatever it was. I mean, his calls have been perfect, and you don't get perfect calls, especially ahead of time. You don't call the 20K Christmas ahead of time unless you're the one making it. And, hexagons, the part of maybe 10 different factors that made Hex do a 10,000x last cycle. Part of it was Richard accurately calling the bottom at 3,800. I know I bought more because I had just discovered Richard and he made such a compelling point to me. I bought more Bitcoin that I would not have bought at the bottom, right? Because I had been buying from Bitcoin at $2,000 all the way up to $20,000, all the way down to $6,000, sideways at $6,000. My life savings is in this. I'm down, 50 or 60% or something at least. And all I have is like, people on YouTube who are true believers, like basically keeping me in it. Richard was one of those. And so, so I know that Hexagons bought more Bitcoin at 3,800. And then we got to sell, around 60,000, 65,000, 69,000, that area. So yeah, so that's like, that was a lot of money that we had to put into Hex. That's for sure. Then also, I mean, buying Ethereum for $80, that was pretty cool too. But the point I'm trying to make is that it just occurred to me this week that maybe the sacrifice address was not meant to like show everybody where the top and the bottom was. Like, maybe it was a bit of a red herring, or so, kind of served a lot of different purposes. But, like Richard said, what, 12K and pray, and the market pretty much went exactly there, like it had been doing before, based on his calls. And you have to remember CZ and BlackRock and like all these big players, obviously they're looking at Richard Hart's calls, because if you're anybody in the space, like you understand that he's always made the best calls. And yeah, so maybe, I don't know, maybe Richard didn't call the bottom and the top this cycle on purpose. And, maybe that's what the market needed to not have a free ride there. I know, I guess if somebody hasn't been following the scene for all these past like 7 years or whatever it's been, for me, 8 years in crypto, it might not make perfect sense, but, yeah. I just think, whether the sacrifice address is up or down, like that doesn't really matter to us in a broader sense. But I think the concept of like knowing where we're at in the market and like knowing how the macro and the specific crypto environment. Like, you know, if Vitalik wants to fuck up the price of Ethereum, he's gonna be pretty effective at doing that. If his definition of winning is low fees, and, you know, high fees is part of what made Ethereum great in the past, well, that's a big difference. So, yeah. So, I mean, that's why I joked in a tweet today where I quote tweeted Richard, and I said, reverse psychology is the only way this is going to work. Vitalik is expressly against winning, ? Tell him direct mail will make ETH price go down. Can you see it? He wants low fees. Then I said, also sell ETH for PLS or stables. ETH is a shitcoin. Now that's what I've done. But I have to say it's going to be extremely fascinating to see what the quote unquote OA address does in this situation. Even if not for like a come pump our bags scenario, but just like in a historical showdown of, like, you know, the three most main characters that are left in crypto. Like, who do you have left other than Vitalik, Richard, and CZ? I mean, sure, yeah, you've got other people, you've got Brian Armstrong, but Brian Armstrong doesn't matter in, like, he's not playing the game, you know, of true crypto. I mean, there's a lot of ways to analyze that, but I'm just saying, like, you know, CZ, I mean, he kind of made the top right before he went to jail. There was something going on there that we don't know about, but that's the same time that the Pulse Chain Sacrifice address bought. After so long, after over a year, just sitting in stables, after like saving the crypto market from when 2 years ago stables depegged and you had like USDC and other DAI and USDT like starting to collapse on each other down to 88 cents, and the Pulse Chain Sacrifice address like steps in and saves crypto. That's epic. So yeah, I mean, when we look at like these are things people don't report on. Like, this is the most interesting stuff that has ever happened in crypto. And, you know, you had Tangent and I do like a 3 or 4 hour stream on it at the time. And you can still go back and see that. It's from 2 years ago on my channel. Crazy stuff. Crazy. I mean, you know, the crypto history is not, you know, Brian Armstrong's little documentary where he's like, I don't know, he's like assembling a group of woke employees to go create a system so they can buy muffins from the company bakery using USDC. Like, I mean, yeah, stablecoins are the killer app in crypto and stuff, but like I don't know. I don't want to talk too much shit on Brian Armstrong, but because I'm trying to get. By the way, did you hear? I spoke to Sense Foundation because they have 300 million PDI trapped on Coinbase, and I recommended to them that they could try to get Pulse Chain and PDI listed on Coinbase. And I went over like the 3 major reasons why that may not have happened yet is because the SEC case that's about to get dismissed, old wounds over Richard vampire attacking Bitcoin, and Richard's outrage marketing, which I pointed out, prevented people from buying a higher top in HEX, and therefore saved all of our grandmothers from financial peril. And they seem to like that observation. I didn't like lead with this argument that like they should try to get this going and everything, but anyway, it feels like progress, you know? It does. So, I mean, direct mail, yeah, obviously it works. That's how we got Jack Levin in the HEX community. And I'm sure many others. But one of the things I wanted to mention today on the show is like how proud I am of you, the members of the HEX Impulsion community. And why do I say that? Well, one thing I've noticed is that even though we're kind of down bad recently in the past few days and like the past week or two throughout all of crypto, I haven't seen as much infighting, if any, compared to normal. And that's a big difference. And so I'm not sure if like launching Pump.tires, like, you know, finally retired all like the crankiest people, or, you know, I haven't really pinned down like what the factors are yet of why this is happening, but it occurred to me today. And, you know, today is a day where Pulse and PulseX and HEX, maybe they're down 15%, you know, maybe they're down, maybe it's a 50% dip, or whatever in the past couple weeks. I don't know. But the point is, normally everybody would be at each other's throats and like there would be some extreme drama. It's possible that I've just, you know, finally like perfectly blocked the right number of people, or that I've found some sort of personal nirvana that made me ignore the haters. But anyway, that doesn't make me any less proud of all the people I see showing up, participating. Crypto Coffee sent me like a really nice message today of encouragement, and I sent one back. You know, Hexologist was streaming today, pointing out how people can do a better job of appreciating even when we have no expectations. RG3 has been out there doing a bunch of shows. Fast Abdul, like, honestly, this sentiment is different than the price, and that doesn't happen too often. And so it's got me thinking deeply about like, you know, how did we finally get things so right? Is everybody's mental health better somehow? And that's not to say that people aren't like stressed and depressed and like, you know, experiencing the negativities of price down, stuff like that. But it just, yeah, I'm noticing a community that, you know, deserves to be proud of itself. And, you know, one of my tweets this week, I was recognizing a community member, Tam, who, you know, like is just a shining example of everything that you would want to see in like a crypto advocate. Somebody who is not paid and is volunteering, who is getting 330,000 impressions on Twitter with only 2,700, per month, with only 2,700 followers. I mean, that was an insane outlier when I was looking at these analytics for the HEX badges RIP. And So Tam Tam, I mean, this is somebody that I've met in person, and I've met some of her millionaire onboards that are just full of positivity and light, just like she is. And so her dedication to RH tokens, to self-improvement and positivity, even when she found HEX at 17 cents and had, I mean, that's similar to my Bitcoin story where, well, it's even worse than my Bitcoin story. But yeah, I mean, basically, seeing only down, but having the faith is, that's something really rare and admirable. And yeah, so I tweeted my, my joy and thankfulness for counting her as a friend and seeing her as somebody important in the community. I told people to follow her, and I saw tons of people like retweeting it, taking a screenshot of my post and reposting it, saying similar positive things. I saw she had 500 more followers, the next day or something, and she deserves even more than that. So I think her handle is at Jojo Crypto, but you can see it in my past tweets. Right. And so I guess, should I call it the Department of HEX Efficiency? Dope. I don't know if that would be the acronym, but anyway, I made the tough call this week to not renew the HEX badge program, the hexconference.com badges, because it was a lot of money and the funding had run out. And so now I'm working with some of the people who had a badge, which doubles the amount of views that you get on Twitter organically. It's like one of the biggest hacks ever. By the way, I think Twitter is such spaghetti code. It might be the case that just having had a badge ever continues to give you a boost, which is really weird. But I pay attention to these things very closely, and they wouldn't like put it in writing if it wasn't true that it boosts your views. And Fast Abdul like tripled his views as soon as he got it after like a really strong baseline of and not doing anything quite differently. So yeah, so that's like a super interesting niche thing, kind of a nerdy thing I just realized today. But just having the badge, I mean, Sami was posting about it like, hey, this is important. This is something that garners respect, and especially for people like Hexo and myself and many others who are like trying to make bridges into new communities and trying to get the word out. It's important. So we're going to migrate some of the people who are getting maybe like 1 million views or more per month, migrate them over to the Pulse Chain conference badges. And I think in the next couple of days, I'll be making some announcements about the pulsechainconference.com online conference, which will be happening in mid-May for the second annual launch anniversary of Pulse Chain. It'll actually be our 4th annual conference, if you can believe that, for Pulse Chain, because we did it for 2 years before Pulse Chain even started. And so that'll be cool because a lot of people are going to Las Vegas for a PLS 369 conference that's hosted by RG3. And I want to make sure everybody feels included, even if you can't make it to that, which is why I want to start talking about the online conference so everybody is included. So that'll be cool. But so those badges are being rolled out now. Basically, once Twitter gives you back your blue check mark, which is a 3 to 5 day process, and then if we have funding for your badge, then we can put on a pulse chain one for people who have spoken at these conferences before, and just got Crypto Coffee added tonight because for some reason his blue check mark came back super fast. So that's good. I'll get to the comments before the show's over, but let me just explain. Okay, so what were the bugs I ran into today with MetaMask that I reported to them, and they're not necessarily addressing super well. So I know everybody loves Rabby, blah blah blah, internet money. I think that as we saw this week with the largest theft in human history being the Ethereum hack of Bybit, just using a hardware device isn't the whole story of securing your crypto and being your own bank and being self-sovereign, changing the world through removing middlemen. The interface that you sign things from matters. And for me, I love that Rabby has a better user interface, but I'm not moving that quickly. I've been in a long-term relationship with MetaMask, and does it abuse me? Sure, it does. But you can't move too quickly with a new wallet because of a lot of reasons. And so, if you've moved on and you're dealing with an amount of money that makes you comfortable, and you think that there's a critical mass of people that have, already looked at all the code updates that they do, and, you've done your due diligence, well, congratulations, good for you. For me, it's easier for me to use an interface that is less smooth, that I can trust if I have my life savings in crypto. So I've continued to use MetaMask to my own peril. And so there were 3 bugs that I ran into recently, and 2 of them got worse here with the latest update that was out yesterday. And so for me, I like to use both the desktop version, which is a Chrome extension of MetaMask, and MetaMask mobile on my phone. Even though I know that the security on my phone is lackluster, I just keep a small enough amount of money on there that I accept the risk and understand it. And sometimes I want to pay with crypto from my phone. That's part of the point of crypto, is to be able to use it. And so, and also just for onboarding and this exact type of situation where I'm gonna report a bug and you don't want the tragedy of the commons to take over. And then there's one big Ethereum whale that, is wanting to come and bless us with green candles forever. And, but then they run into a bug and it stops them. Right. So I like using MetaMask intermittently because it is the choice wallet of a lot of ETH whales. And I want to understand if there's any problems. And so in this case, there's a bug where you go to send PLS and it shows you in your wallet that you have a balance. But then when you go to the send page, so you paste the address and then it brings up a page for you to type how much pulse you want to send. And it says that the balance is 0. And so it doesn't let you advance from that screen. And That's actually something that had happened on the Chrome extension intermittently. It had happened like every other time I went to like send, it would run into this same error where it says that the balance is 0, even though it's already showing you previously in the same address that you do have a balance in that wallet. So, and then there's also an issue now that that got worse, where basically you can't add a token on the Pulse Chain network from the browser on mobile to the wallet on mobile. So there's like 2 different panels that you have to open up to like to add the contract address from Pateus, let's say, and it like pops up in MetaMask saying like, do you want to add this? Like it always has. But then when you add it, you say yes to MetaMask, like, yes, I want to add this token in the browser. Then you go to the wallet and it's not there. And that happened to my friend, even on a different mobile operating system than mine. And so of course you can copy the address and then manually import it in the different panel of the wallet, separate from the browser. But that it's just like, man, you guys are falling apart over here. And I saw that they came out with a new version of the app today, but seeing as how the Chrome extension bug with sending Pulse has been there like every other transaction for a couple of months at least, I have little hope that they were going to fix this on their own. So anyway, yeah, like, do the right thing always, try to report it, whatever. But man, it made it so I couldn't do the transaction that I wanted to do. I wanted to swap a little bit of stable coins for ink. Well, I bridged to a separate address, because privacy and all that. And then I had Pulse in other addresses on the device, but it was unusable to me. And so I had to go to my desktop, to send Pulse, because the Pulse that was on my phone, it couldn't be sent. And maybe I could have looped it into Robbie as something that would sign for the MetaMask. I don't remember if that's a thing or not, but I mean, there's usually more than one way to solve like a problem, but it also helps for the developer to just make it so that they don't have a shitload of bugs in their stuff. So yeah, there you go. Let's see. Let me check out the comments here. What's up, Franklin? Here for therapy. Respect. And Fast Abdullah is here for the tech. Guys, I'm on the carnivore diet again. This is my 3rd time doing it. I had done it before, like 2 to 3 months at a time. And I think I'm about 2 or 3 weeks in now. Crazy. Still holding, but this is hard. My mentals need help, need positive vibes ASAP. Well, yeah, I mean, look, that's why I do this show every Tuesday and Thursday night. It kind of gives people a window into like, yeah, like I'm in the same boat as you, that type of thing. And, I don't give financial advice, but I do try to share things that are helpful. And we've been talking on this channel for the past 3 or 4 weeks about like, at least the past 2 or 3 weeks. Like, hey, are we near a top? Or are we just, into a normal dip on the way back up? As I said earlier in the program, much of crypto's success right now is going to be anchored to like Trump's trade war. And I think we probably need to use AI to dig into that a little bit more and like see what happened last time and try to make a better prediction of what's going to happen now. Because trade wars increase inflation, and inflation makes the Federal Reserve increase rates instead of decrease rates. And it also makes the stock market, have trouble doing well, which makes all that stuff makes crypto go down. So, again, another point that I made before is that like HEX peaked after Bitcoin's first top in 2021. And so, for me, asking whether Bitcoin is topped is more of a question of, should I go into like my deep cold storage and sell a little bit of Bitcoin, and not so much a question of, do I want to be completely out of RH tickers? Which like I'm staked for 15 years. Like I'm just talking about like liquid stuff. But yeah, holding is hard. Like I said earlier, it was really hard when I, got into Bitcoin at 20K. I didn't get into it, but I was buying up to 20K, and then I was down 60 or 70% on my life savings in my first cycle. And we're live. No cheats allowed. What's up, Angel? Hello, all. And we're live. Yep. Looks like a good crowd tonight. Maybe people liked the thumbnail. We do have a lot of community members to be proud of. And like I said before, I'm just proud of the sentiment right now for price being down and the community not being attacking each other shows incredible progress. Incredible. And I'm proud of people who are holding, delaying gratification, DCAing, creating a long-term plan, working on self-improvement while you are trying to make crypto work for you. Luna C Point, what's up, gang? Why bother with MetaMask? Asked and answered. Did a good bunch of stakes at these low gas fees. There you go. What's up, Tam Tam? Good to see you there. I was just giving you some praise earlier. If it wasn't for HEX, I would have become a Bitcoin maxi. Yeah. I have the same thought. I sent a tweet, or I replied to Jason Lowry, who's like one of the most interesting Bitcoin maxis I know of. He's the guy who wrote the book Soft War. And he like works for the Department of Defense, and he is just like he's one of these guys like Sailor or Safety or Andreas. I would put him exactly at that level. Jason Lowry. If you look at some of his YouTube videos, he has a different way of talking about Bitcoin than I've ever heard. And it's really epic. And so I did like a reply to one of his tweets where he's like, maybe we shouldn't all be assholes when we're trying to be maxis. And I said, hey, we should do a podcast together, man. If you mean what you say. I said, I'm a Bitcoiner led astray, and I'd love to hear your logic in longer form. Nobody's liked it. So if you guys want to like my reply, maybe it's more likely that he'll see it and take me up on the offer, and then we can have some fun really debating the merits here, because I think that there's a lot to love in Bitcoin and Impulse Chain and HEX. I thought RH didn't call the top for Bitcoin a couple of years ago. I thought RH did call the top 120K if I remember probably. Bitcoin has never been 120K. It peaked at 108K just this cycle in the past few months. Richard called the top at about 69K in 2021 in May. And then there was another kind of like what he called a scam top, but it kind of went back exactly to 69K and then like wicked up to 72K for a few minutes and then like went all the way down again. So it was like a double top, but the top that he called is still, it's still easy to consider. Okay, that is an accurate top call. Especially when he called it ahead of time and on the day. So yeah, but he didn't, and then he did call the bottom ahead of time too, this cycle. Some people will tell you that Bitcoin only went to 15K, but it went to like 8K because you had a 50% grayscale Bitcoin discount. And then that was redeemable in this cycle for real Bitcoin. And so Richard's like 12K in prey actually did come true for people buying millions of dollars of Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, he also said in his interview with Dominic Frisby that maybe with all the money printing, it would only go down to 15K. And that was like months before it happened, if not like a year and a half before or something. So look, I bought the Bitcoin bottom because of the numbers Richard said. So, you know, if you don't call that an accurate call after all the other calls he had, then maybe you didn't buy it. Have alts historically run in summer? I think the past two cycles have not been the same as to when the alt seasons were relative to the seasons. The last 3 years has sucked versus holding BTC, correct? There's nothing to fight about. Oh, there's always something to fight about, which is what's so shocking that. Right. It's the cowboy hat. Maybe that's keeping everybody in check. We are close to very likely SEC dismissal. I love that. The hat is the only charm we have now, right? Fox Mulder, what's up? Love you, Tam Tam. Free man. Let's see. What's up, gang? How broken and down bad are we all feeling today? Not as much as we should be. I don't understand why MetaMask and most interfaces shorten or hide addresses. It makes it hard to double check transactions before confirming. Worse, checking the address sometimes resets the transaction. I agree, Ashley Rose. I agree. They're making changes. They're pretty excited about their new Fox logo that they put out today, but that's not what we really care about. Yep. What's up, Mr. 25th Frat? Fast Abdul's bullish on ink. Well, at $1.81, we're going somewhere. Especially with nearly similar addresses that scammers mine to try to confuse crypto users. Yeah. Yep, that's why crypto is an ever evolving game. And like the more value that you're securing, the more you have to step up your game and trust yourself and gain those experience points that you need. I've had to do hundreds of transactions, if not thousands and thousands, to trust myself in crypto. I mean, like, I used to be sweating bullets sending a medium amount of money. But yeah, it all comes with experience, and you have to stay sharp because, as we saw this week with the North Korea hack of $1.5 billion, that's a good reminder to hold your own keys and understand what you're signing. What are other software wallet options that we have outside of MetaMask? So I still find that MetaMask in a Chrome browser, that still works for me. So that's what I'm going to keep using with a Trezor hardware wallet. I'm not going to get exotic. I'm not going to use something different than, Richard taught us in the beginning and all the Ethereum whales are still using. Like, I mean, it's not worth it to me. I don't care that like half of the time when I go to send PLS, like it doesn't work and I have to like click 3 more times. That's not a problem compared to if I start using something and it like, bugs out in a real way. Like it makes me sign something I don't understand or, all these different things. So there's something called critical mass. Like, if everybody using MetaMask in the world got hacked at the same time, then they would probably roll back the chain or something. Not that I advocate for that. Oh, that reminds me. Eric Wall wrote something, not Eric Wall. Eric Voorhees wrote something very beautiful. By the way, the fear and greed index was down to 10 out of 100 today for Bitcoin. And then it went back up to 16. So I don't really know how it moved so fast up. But then I saw that there was actually a graph of like where it's been. And I know like the price timing's enough. And I know enough about how the fear and greed index works where I was like looking back at it and I was like, well, I mean, yeah, it's going to help you. It's going to inform your DCA over like a multi-year period, but like, it's not going to tell you whether the price is going to go up or down tomorrow. Eric Voorhees wrote a beautiful essay about how we can't go freezing the hacked funds and still call it crypto. So I posted a picture of Eric and I at a conference this year. I think he hates HEX and Pulse Chain and like whatever. He still has like really good speeches that like transcend, like a certain crypto tribalism. He said, an objective protocol must permit bad actors operating on it. Mathematics doesn't turn off when a bad man solves an equation. Language doesn't fail to execute when a bad man speaks it. These are permissionless protocols, and so too must be crypto. Boom. Everybody's running around, talking about freezing the 1.5 billion. That's not crypto. So you can read like his whole longer essay if you want, but do you get paid to say carnivore? I wish I did. Somebody send me some steaks right now. Smash that like and subscribe. There you go. Frozen bridge out of Internet Money Wallet. I mean, that's, look, people have sent PulseX to the PulseX address and lost like $10,000 or $20,000, which was like all of their crypto. And Internet Money like fixed that to where you can't do that anymore. But like, dude, I just like, I'm fine. Like I said, I'm fine. Like, you know, having to click 3 extra times to like get around debugging MetaMask if it's not going to, if there's not going to be one situation where I'm not thinking like, oh, it's a little bit different when I like copy and paste something in this wallet, and then like I'm copy and pasting and then I'm sending to a contract address. Like that would suck. Carnivore is great, Maddie. Do you follow Steak and Butter Gal's channel and Dr. Sean Baker? I'm not, so I like it, but I'm not, I got too much stuff. Like I'm more focused. You could like, I'm not willing to watch YouTube channels that are not about crypto. And I love that other people do, because then they teach me what they learned. And I know I probably should. And if I get into it longer, I will. But right now it's like, you know, I've already figured out the parts that I need to figure out for myself. And, you know, just bought the dip. The pain will be over in 2 weeks. I guess, you know what? Psycho Crypto 023. I just took a screenshot of your comment, so I can look it up someday. Just bought the dip. The pain will be over in 2 weeks. 2 more weeks, eh? That'd be beautiful. Yeah, it'd be cool if the up only part starts on March 9th, which is when the up only part ended last year. We remember we had a run. We had a 20x run in Ink and a 10x run in Pulse and PulseX and HEX from January 9th of last year to March 9th of last year. So, hey, you know, March 9th is coming up. Let's do it. Maybe even in a few days, Bitcoin will bottom and we'll go back up. I would love that. I don't know if it will. But man, DCAing when you buy and it's painful, that in the long term, that's good. And I'm, you know, like I said earlier in the show, like I'm most inclined to be buying at these prices. I really like the price of Ink. I don't have a lot of Ink, so I really like the price of Ink. PulseX, I have a lot of PulseX and I like this price. And then Pulse is near its all-time low ever, and I believe in that a lot too. Now, HEX, that's what I have the most of. So for people who don't have that, that's a different story. Like, still another good buy. Eight mangoes today. There you go. So I dropped the link so you guys can hit the like button, and maybe I'll get an interview with Jason Lowry, and then I'll convert him, and all of his Bitcoin whales will come to Pulse Chain, and then that'll make the SAC funds look like chump change. If only everybody who is watching would just go like that tweet. The future is yours. You think I'm responsible for the community being strong? Hey, I take that as a great compliment. And at the same time, I have to say there's a lot of other people who are here with the right vibes. And yeah, so I appreciate the comment, and I also want to give everybody else their due. Yeah, Rabbi's pretty good. I ran into a problem with Rabbi once, and it was about 6 months ago or something, to the point where I had to use a different device to recover my seed, to like put in my seed phrase again, which to me, that's like a major screw up. That's like, and it sucks that I don't remember like the specific, like, you know, occurrences that happened, but I got so stuck on Rabbi, and I know that they have a better interface normally, but I got into a weird situation, and it was like, it was a big enough screw up for me where I'm like, okay, well, going back to what I know and what I have the most experience with, even though I know Rabbi, I had used it on multiple devices, but on this one device, like on this one instance, it failed me. So, but if people are using it and they've used it long enough and they haven't run into anything, you know, I'm just glad I didn't put more money on that and have like some spyware on it. Cause I mean, that's when you have, like, to use the analogy of like a plane crash, like normally in a plane crash, there's like 3 or 4 things that go wrong. Normally, if there's one thing that goes wrong, then like the rest of the systems can, like, you know, fix it. And so in crypto, when or like even when I was working in a neuroscience laboratory and we were doing these like really, really expensive studies where, like, if we messed up, like, you know, one setting on the computer, then we would lose, like, you know, $10,000 worth of research. And so you have like 2 people checking each other. And in crypto, I know you can't do that, but like basically you have to, it's the same thing in like an airplane. It's like, in order to prevent a catastrophe in a extreme environment where you're like messing with the keys to your life savings and stuff, like, you know, you have to get it right. So, been waiting for this PLSX dip. Well, there you go. Comment and like, Unplugged Dad says to Maddie's reply to Jason Lowry. Respect. Thank you. Hello, Maddie. We should all lock in your Save Yourself From Yourself program. Yeah, for sure. Hey, I'm glad you mentioned that. I had somebody contact me recently who also lives nearby me in Texas. And I may have met them at a conference before briefly, but yeah, they had such good questions about Time Pays Me, and they have an idea of like how to create a use case for it in doing some sort of donation thing in Africa. And yeah, so I'm excited to have that conversation with them. I guess it'll be offline, but then report back to you guys and let you know. I've also been thinking about doing more documentation for Time Pays Me because it's a hidden gem. It would have saved $1.5 billion recently with this Bybit hack. And it's got functionality built into it for inheritance and for undoing a hack and for paying yourself for self-improvement and time locking your money to save yourself from yourself. So, I guess the only drawback is that the fee is so low. It's like, it doesn't pay the bills for me to just like focus only on that. Not that I would, or I don't know. It's just, there's not a huge incentive built into it to like promote it. I wish that we had like a a referral system or something built into it. But I mean, it's got over $1 million locked in it. It's been audited, and I've like set up a test account and put $10,000 in there. And then I read the seed words off because the money had already been put into the vault that already had a second seed phrase associated with it. And so I did like a really cool demonstration of how to undo a hack. And yeah, I mean, it'll save you from selling early if that's your goal. And you can even use it. There's a way to use it to do like a price lock, but that requires like that requires you using a behavior validator where somebody else like can validate, oh yeah, like the price went to where you said you wanted it to go, and like now here's the code to unlock your money. But yeah, that's really cool. But just doing time-based, that's like the easiest way to use it. I mean, there are lots of use cases for timepays.me, and you can learn what's out there about it if you go to it's actually x.com/timepaysme. On the actual website of timepays.me, it doesn't give instructions. It just gives the user interface. Did the price just go up while I was talking, or down, or is it the same? What just happened? Oh yeah, it went up. Wow. That's a miracle. Well, you guys are already buying up incentive without me, so. Bought the dip and it dipped more. Yep. Price action definitely been getting to me a bit, to be honest. Yeah, I wanted to pull the trigger on Ink last night at $2.15, and now it's sitting at like $1.90. So that's that's just, I mean, for me it's dollar cost average. Don't put in money that I'm going to need right away. Two more weeks. Maddie's legit. Thanks, Yellowtail. I don't like the MetaMask doesn't always let you edit the approval amount. I don't like unlimited approvals or permits. I had to learn how to write to the contract. Useful to learn, but be careful. Yeah, that just as you said. I haven't run into that myself, that it wouldn't let me edit an approval, but yeah, good. Mark F, I was unable to explain my issue with Rabbi. So it's a bad like instance where yeah, I can't tell you exactly what went wrong, but just explaining that like it's okay if you have been using MetaMask and you want to keep using MetaMask, you're allowed to do that. Even if MetaMask sucks, like that's what I'm doing with my life savings, is like I'm still using MetaMask. And that's because my security and the trust that I put into these systems and the amount of experience I have outweighs having an easier interface. And I can advocate for an easier interface. And that's what I did tonight when I spent half an hour like talking to the dev at MetaMask, describing the issue, which is why the show started late. But yeah, don't be pressured to use something else that you're unfamiliar with. And at the same time, you can use other things, and but just be careful and build up your experience. And then at some points you will choose to change. Like for me, my first hardware wallet was not a Trezor. And like my first hardware wallet in Trezor was not a Trezor Safe 3. But like I tried lots of hardware wallets, and like over the years, my experience like grew with the ones that were newer or unfamiliar to me. And like now I trust Trezor and I have the most experience with Trezor. And like I can tell you that the Trezor Safe 3 is the best, in my opinion. And I have a link to sell those, and I've sold 600 Trezors. I sold 300 of the Model 1s whenever those were the best. And then now that the Safe 3 has come out, like I've sold another 300 of those. And so if you don't have one yet, there's a link in the description, and it helps to support the channel, and it's the same cost to you. And yeah, so that's what I would recommend. But it's another example of like, you don't have to be, phobic of trying new things. And you don't have to stick with like the same thing if it's not working for you, but you have to put in the time and the experience. Like you have to accept the risk yourself of all these things you do when you are your own bank and you are self-sovereign over your own money, and there's no middleman to like save you or block you from anything. Like it's up to you. So, and I thought Papa B did like a great rundown today on his show, and I got some good laughs from it, from Peter and from Toby Wan and DJ Cryptomatic. So I would definitely recommend go watch the show What the HEX on YouTube that just came out today. And yeah, so I think I'm gonna probably leave it there before you guys push the price of ink up anymore. But hang in there. I like, dips are painful, gotta buy dips, but can't put money in that you need right away. And patience is part of the game. They say comparison is the killer of joy, but if I had to compare being able to buy ink right now at $1.90 versus like everybody who bought it at $4 3 weeks ago, even if it goes down to $1 or something, which I don't know if it will or not, but even if it went there, I still got a way better deal at $1.90 than somebody did at $4, or somebody who bought the top of last year when ink got to $10. So, if comparison helps, ease your dip buying or whatever, then maybe that's not all bad. Oh, and then Hexologist, he also had a good stream that was only on Twitter today. Crypto 7 had a good stream. And so did Corey Geary. And what else? Oh yeah, Hexologist uploaded a AI Richard Hart video that was reading SciVive, and it was a section that I had never heard before, like romance, and it seemed particularly insightful. So if you're looking for love in all the wrong places, you might want to go listen to this 15 or 20 minute video that Hexologist uploaded today that has Richard Hart's SciVive. It's like, chapter 15 or something. It's like, way farther than I got when I was reading it. And it was delivered well and put together well. So shout out to Hexologist. So with that being said, we're an hour 20 in. We've got 100 people watching on YouTube, 350 on Twitter, and usually about 1,000 or 2,000 on the replay. Not bad. Hit the like and subscribe button. Share this out. Shout out to Day 43 OG, who also does a great show and is highlighting that Go Pulse, also the website, their links to Time Pays Me. I'm going to add the thumbnail here so I can remind you how proud I am of all you in the community that are staying positive during the dips. And let me see. Yeah, thanks for being here, everybody. Shout out Hex Farmer, Shell Fox. Don't lose focus. We are built different. Pulse Chain loves you. I dig it. What's up, money changers? So with that being said, until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.